Yo, what's going on, guys? Coldemush back at it with another video. We've got some more details on the RTX 2080 Ti and how performance is going to be with ray tracing. Kind of the selling point of these new GPUs. Although performance numbers don't look all too great, there is an image of ray tracing off versus ray tracing on, and the difference is pretty notable. However, the performance numbers that the 2080 Ti is getting with this feature turned on, even at 1080p, is pretty low. And considering it's a $1,000 GPU at minimum, more likely than not, you're probably paying considerably more than that. That's pretty disappointing. Also, there are 5 Microsoft games that THQ Nordic will be publishing on Steam. THQ Nordic has signed a distribution deal with Microsoft Studios. None of these games are absolutely huge, but one of these titles has caught my interest and I will definitely be checking it out. Already played it a little bit on Windows 10, so I want to go over those games. And then I also want to take a look at what Green Man Gaming is doing. They've got a Games Aid charity bundle, 50 games in total for $50, and there are some awesome games in this bundle. So I want to take you guys through that as well, and if you buy it, all of the money does go to charity, so that's pretty cool. First, let's talk about the RTX 2080 Ti. There are performance numbers of Shadow of the Tomb Raider with ray tracing turned on, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider could not maintain a consistent 60 frames per second, which is pretty disappointing. It was hovering around 40 frames per second. It would go higher, it would go lower, but considering it is a $1,000 GPU at the minimum, again, more likely than not, you're paying closer to $1,200 or $1,300. Now, the Tomb Raider Twitter account did respond saying, quote, "The NVIDIA ray tracing technology currently being shown in Shadow of the Tomb Raider is an early work in progress version. As a result, different areas of the game have received different levels of polish while working toward complete implementation of this new technology. The final NVIDIA ray tracing integration will be released as a post-launch update, and we are excited for our fans to experience it firsthand." Now, even if it's at an early state, I don't know how much better performance is going to get. This is at 1080p, and you would think that the section of the game that they would showcase would be optimized for ray tracing, but who knows? What is really funny is that this is the selling point of the 2080 Ti, and if you actually go back to the press conference and the reveal, they didn't go too in depth with performance numbers. This is probably why, because performance numbers are not that impressive. Now, the thing is, if you're playing games with ray tracing turned off, the 2080 Ti is going to perform much better than its predecessor. It is going to be a significant leap forward in performance and, of course, in pricing, because the 1080 Ti is considerably cheaper than the 2080 Ti right now. But it will be a significant leap forward. I just think the primary focus being on ray tracing is completely misplaced. It's like if you put your primary focus on Hairworks, but even to a greater extent, because the performance numbers are going down even more considerably so. Now, the actual before and after image with ray tracing on versus ray tracing off, that image does look pretty impressive. It looks a lot better, but considering performance numbers, who's gonna drop $1,000 on a GPU, play at 1080p instead of, say, 4K, and even then not get a consistent 60 frames per second? That just doesn't seem worth it, even to someone like myself who is an avid graphics whore. For that kind of performance dip, that is just not worth it. But again, this is an early stage. The Tomb Raider Twitter account did say it's going to be implemented better, and a post-launch update will improve performance. So let's wait and see before we jump to any rash conclusions. But so far, looks a little bit disappointing as far as performance numbers go with ray tracing turned on. This is going to be something that's a work in progress. It's going to get better and better, but because this is an early implementation of it, it's going to start off being super demanding. Moving on from that, THQ Nordic has signed a distribution deal with Microsoft, and they are releasing a couple games over on Steam. Now, these were Microsoft published games. They're available on the Windows Store, but let's be real, not too many people use the Windows Store, so THQ Nordic has struck a deal with Microsoft, and they are releasing these games onto Steam. Zoo Tycoon Ultimate Animal Collection, Russia Disney Pixar Adventure, Disneyland Adventure, Super Lucky's Tale, and probably the most interesting, Recore Definitive Edition. Recore is a game that I played a little bit of on the Windows Store. I believe there's a free demo available if you want to check that out, and I had some fun with it. This was one of the more promoted Xbox One exclusives. It was done by Armature Studios. They've worked on a couple of other titles as well. Is Recore up to the quality of, say, PlayStation exclusives? Absolutely not, but it's a fun little game, and I do foresee it garnering some traction when it is released on Steam, because it is a quirky game with a cool premise. Unfortunately, it didn't resonate all too much with gamers, but hopefully on Steam it can find a second wind, as so many other games have done in the past. So those are coming sometime soon to Steam, so stay on the lookout for that. And finally, Games Aid has partnered with Green Man Gaming for an awesome 50-game charity bundle for $50. Now, $50 is a steep price, but you're getting 50 games with this bundle, and a lot of these titles are great, including the Mount & Blade titles, Mount & Blade Warband, Mount & Blade with Fire and Sword. You got This War of Mine, you've got Rage in there, Insurgency's in there, Fear 3, Injustice, Batman, Arkham Asylum, Castlevania, Lords of Shadow 2, Lords of Shadows, Mirror of Fate HD, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and Metal Gear Rising Revengeance are all in there. Magicka's in there. Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy Remastered, Sniper Elite 3, Killing Floor, and much more. Yes, the price is steep at $50, but you're getting 50 games and all of the money is going towards charity, so an awesome cause. And GamesAid is very reputable. They've done very well in the past, so this is a great bundle if you just want to kickstart your PC gaming library. This is a great way to do so. I mean, you've got games like Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, Metal Gear Solid 5, MGS5 Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Those games typically go for around $5 to $7, and then you have titles like Batman Arkham Asylum, Fear 3, Insurgency, Rage, the Mount and Blade titles, which are very well received, and typically they are a couple of dollars if you want to buy them separately during a Steam sale, so you get all of that in one bundle, $50, all for charity. A great deal. I'll leave a link in the description box down below for those of you interested. I know an issue for a lot of you guys is you own some of these games, but each key will come individually, so if you do want to give some to friends, if you want to hook them up, this is a great deal for $50, so would highly recommend you guys to check it out. Again, link in the description box below. That is going to conclude this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts. What do you think about the ray tracing early performance numbers? Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 1080p is not running at 60 frames per second. The Tomb Raider Twitter account did say this is an early implementation, so performance numbers should get better, but for a $1,000 GPU, more likely than not $1,300. It's hard not to be a little disappointed by that, but I'm sure if you turn that feature off and you're playing this game at even 4K, you're gonna be getting pretty solid performance numbers, as it is a significant leap over, say, the 1080 Ti. THQ Nordic is bringing a couple of Microsoft games over to Steam. Unfortunately, no Halo Master Chief Collection or anything like that, just a couple of smaller titles, but Record Definitive Edition is a game that I'll definitely be checking out, and that GamesAid 50 game charity bundle for $50 is an awesome value. All the money goes towards charity, so definitely give that a look. Link in the description box below. That is going to conclude this video. If you guys have a request for a future video, as always, you can leave that in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. This video is sponsored by scdkeys.com. They've got great deals on all kinds of games as well as PC software. Specifically, they've got Windows 10 Pro OEM for just $14, so if you go on their site, type in Windows 10, you'll find it available right now. You can buy it, and you can take advantage of the promo code CM1 to save an additional 10%, so you'll be getting it a little bit cheaper. You can decide on your method of payment, check out, and bam, there you go. Now you've got Windows 10 a little bit cheaper. You can also use the code CM2 on games to save 3%, so take advantage of that as well.